This is the home screen for the Adobe Aero app, and this is what you'll see when you open it up. Okay, let's create a new file and call it demo. And you will see this screen. This is the Adobe Aero workspace where we will be creating all of our AR experiences. This grid represents the ground, and you can think of this as a proxy to our real world. And we have coordinate system in here to help us place objects. So we've got X, which is horizontal, Z, which is depth, and Y, which is height. So it doesn't look that complex, but what we need to do is we need to come down to this box and open up our content. And Adobe comes in with some starter assets, which are really handy for us to use. We have abstract shapes. You can even have animated characters. They're not logical in their categories, but they are some useful things. If you wanted to do anything with interior design, try something in the real world, or letters and symbols. You could do that, no problem. So next up we have our toolbar, which is on the left here. We can import our own assets. We have some selection tools here. We can select things in the world with this arrow here. Let's add in a solid cube. So we've got our solid cube there. We can select it. You see we end up with this widget where we can move it up and down. We can rotate it, and we can also scale it. Just undo those one moment. But we also have these tools here. We have just the move tool, we have the rotation tool, and we have the scale tool. And not only that, we can control the camera here. We can use this to orbit around the object. That is shortcut number 1, and if we were to hit shortcut number 2, we could pan the camera around as well. And obviously you guessed it, number 3 helps you dolly, which is moving the camera in and out. It's not zooming, it's moving it. So very simple controls, similar to lots of different 3D applications if you've used them before. So you might have noticed something on this side. We have a scene graph here. So we've got the horizontal surface that I was talking about before, and we also have a solid cube, which we've just created there. And when I click on these things, we see that each 3D object has its own properties. We have where the pivot of the object is, and we have its position in the world space, so in the X, Y, and Z. And we have what rotation it is. So if I was to go back to the rotation, it would be, you can see that changing there. If I was to go into the movement is E. We can see the position is moving there. Scale is currently locked, has a locked sign on it. That is because if I was to scale it now, it will save scale uniformly, but if I unlock that and try and scale it in X, it will now scale accordingly. So we have properties for position, rotation, scale, and size. Once we've created an AR experience, admittedly this one isn't very exciting, but what we could do is we could think, okay, I'm going to share this giant gold bar with my friends. Let's preview that. So we've gone into preview mode. Because I'm on a desktop, we're not getting an overlay of the real world, which is what most augmented reality does. We just have this one here. But I can still use the same shortcut keys. So I'm on 1 and I'm just moving around, and I can see that how that's going to look, and you notice it now has a shadow. So we've got the same tools for that one, and we're just previewing it. And maybe I'm thinking, that's not very good, I need to edit that. So I'll come back out, takes us back to this workspace, and this time I'm going to think, I'm going to scale I'm going to move that up, actually move that a little bit higher, because when you look on the screen as well, we've also got this feedback of real world feedback of the where things are. So at the minute in Y, which is the green, we are 54 centimeters from the ground, because our phones or tablet will detect where this horizontal surface is going to be. Our phones use LiDAR, and they detect where that's going to be, and it's approximating in the software where that will be. And when we come to preview that on our phone, we will be able to do that. And how do you actually do that? Well, the answer is you hit share. You hit the share button, and I'll come on to that in a moment. But back in here, we can notice it's very boring. There's nothing really happening, just a floating cube. So the way we get things to happen a little bit more, make things a bit more interesting, is if we come down to this running man, and he's the behavior builder. And this is where things get a little bit more interactive. So it gives us a little bit of guidance here. We can add triggers and actions to make our scene interactive. Start by adding a trigger. So we click on the trigger button, and we've got 4 options. And the trigger could be when the experience starts, something will happen, or when we tap the object on what we're looking at the experience through. And we also have proximity enter and proximity exit. And this means if you get close to where your object is placed in space, when you're on your phone, when you're with the experience, and you maybe walk up to this block, you're entering its proximity. So you could choose that to make this cube do something, to make it do an action. And obviously you could have, when you move away from it, the proximity exit, that would cause it to do something too. So let's just choose start. So when the experience starts, we will do an action. So I'm going to click on an action. So we've got lots of options here which are hidden from you, but let's just do a nice easy one. Let's make it rotate. So we've got a bit of a warning sign because we need to do something here. So how this works, we can do anything that goes down, because you can see we can add another trigger here. Anything top to bottom is layered, but anything left to right is happening in time. So let's look what appeared here in the behavior building. We've got this action rotate, and if I were to click on that, we've got all the same options. So it's not set in stone, you can change it here. And you can also preview it here. So let's just see what we've got initially. We've got nothing because the subject isn't selected. So we haven't got anything else in our cube apart from the horizontal surface, which we can't manipulate in real life. So it stays uneditable. So we'll choose our solid cube, and immediately when I did that, we've got solid cube, rotate, and then another action option to put another action is, because remember I said it can be left to right and happen in sequence there. So we're going to rotate the object in space. This is getting a bit complex, so I'll leave that for now. And we've got a little bit of help. We've got technical terms of what I think aeroplanes do: pitch, yaw, and roll. And if you can't remember which way they want them to do, we've also got the handy X, Y, and Z, and we've got our coordinate system there to help us. So I want this to spin around from here. So I want it to rotate in Y. So I'm going to say, type in there 360, so it does a full circle. I'm going to say, let's say 8 seconds. And if you know animation, you might have heard this term ease in and ease out. That means it would slowly start rotating and then slowly stop rotating. It would ease into rotating and ease out to rotating. Or you could just have it slowly start to rotate, or you could have it slowly stop rotating. What I'm going to choose is linear, so it's seamless. And you could play it a few times, and I could also delay it. So, well, actually, let's delay it let's delay it 0.5 seconds, half a second, but I want it to happen all the time. So I'm going to click infinite, but first I'm going to use the preview button to see what it quickly looks like. So there we go. We've got a little view of what it's going to look like. So it rotates 360 and it actually does it twice, doesn't it there? So even though the play count is 1, let's click infinite and let's preview that for real in here. So on start, it's going to rotate. The solid cube is going to rotate around Y. We can see we're in the preview window because we have this shadow. So if we were happy with that, we can come out and we can hit the share button. And that gives us a thumbnail, which we could use. We could change the image and maybe put something like, come and see my amazing AR. You can reset the image just to what was on the screen. And let's click on create link. So it's syncing the project to my Adobe Creative Cloud file, and it's creating a link in the cloud for people to use. And here is the URL it's given us, and also, which is really great for people just to grab their smartphones and scan, is a QR code. So you can download this to email to someone, or even have on your own phone so they can scan it from your own phone, or print it out. So we would do that, and I will pop outside and I will show you what that looks like in the real world. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a lot from it. Thank you for watching and goodbye.